Okay. Setting proper motivation, which consists of three parts: refuge field, Bodhichitta field, and the purpose of this practice. Refuge field, visualize Bodhisattva and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened masters who you respect, revere, with for seeking inspiration with respect to generating compassion, universal compassion, with respect to generating the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness, independent origination, and imagine that they're looking at you with so much love, affection, care, and attention. For the Bodhichitta field, visualize your two parents, all of them members, including children, and all other dear sentient beings. Human beings, animals, insects, hungry wolves, cotton balls, spirits, and so forth, and people who are already in the state of acute misery, suffering, and those who are intoxicated with suffering change, and those who are totally in the total like a coma state of being unaware of the suffering, pervasive condition suffering, and those who are already opening the new chapters of miseries, but by creating pains on others, bring them all to mind, including those creatures in the vast oceans, in the wilderness, in this world, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe, where you are the mother and all of us are the children. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken our Buddha nature, awaken the hidden treasure within us by removing the mental dirt which obscures the hidden treasure, and for the removal of which the wisdom of emptiness is required. And this wisdom must be supported by the greatest and the motivation of Bodhichitta, the most beautiful mind of Bodhichitta, which wishes to awaken your hidden treasure to become Buddha for the backward sentient beings. And this is the Bodhichitta is determined by the intensity of the great compassion for all beings. And how much you feel of the compassion is determined by how you feel of the renunciation. So this mind, with the problem motivation of this, as said, bring to your visualization all the sentient beings with you, and all those bodhisattvas and source inspiration. So this mind, out of this Oman, begin to take place.
Please go to page 4. Yes, I'll put it on page 3. Influenced by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perversities, you will the Dharma Influenced by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perversities, you will the Dharma Influenced by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perversities, you will the Dharma Thinking of you and generating what you have. Soge Jonanda Chanjo Bado Dane Yasu Tage Jinso Gembe Sonange Dona Denge Sanje Duparasho Sanje Joda Zoge Jonanda Chanjo Bado Dane Yasu Tage Jinso Gembe Sonange Dona Denge Sanje Loge Jona no Janju Bato Dane Jasu Dale Ora Dane by my illuminations the Christ is giving me so far. May I become the Buddha and to all sentient beings. I go with refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and Sangha. By my accumulations of the Christ is giving me so far. May I become the Buddha and to all sentient beings. I go for refuge in the self-enlightenment, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practices, appearing so forth, may I be Buddha to be all sentient beings. Independent origination, ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no harmony, no coming, no way, no sufferingness, no sameness. I prostrate to the cosmic Buddha, the supreme multitudes, all untrodden species, the supreme operations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all beings here seeking pacification through peace, which through the knowledge of all astros as the supreme grace of nature and and I do the possession of rich life with the substitute of protection teachings. The one who has transformed me into light and bright, motivated my heart to the sentient beings, the teachers who gather and protect our teaching and institutions. The one who has eliminated the realm of conceptualizations, since the power of the divine bodies the vast and divine, who eternally shine forth forever and over their grace, to you, the Buddha, and illustrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today the Buddha's presence and generate mind for the awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. The essence of imagination. Om
Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodham Evam Vati Mahashramana Yesva Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Yesva Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashramana Yesva.
all phenomena arising causes, causes of dissipation causes as well as and profound, peaceful, vibration-free, clear-eyed and non-composite. Such is made by Dharma discover, finding no one to help his teaching, inspired by retired words. Beyond that, soul and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn and unceased in its nature space, is the ultimate apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, and 3 times like existence. 4 seals of Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent, all contaminated things are of nature suffering, all phenomena of nature are existence of consciousness, and thus any sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is also very important, and Guru is the Guru. As founded by the drop of Dharma, you liberate all things of miseries. I can see you kindly remaining in your teachings until the end of expansive billions of years. The Buddha does not watch the negative evil beings, nor does he remove that is raised by his hands. It is spiritual realization that not transferred back. It is the teaching of truth substance that beings of the Buddha. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all Buddha ministries to them. Instructions of mountain from 4 touches. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to some Tara, you are not a renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you are no Bodhichitta. If there is grasping, you do not help you. Page 14, page 15. Praise the Supreme Buddha. To the founder, the intelligence and the destroyer, one body, the full destroyer, completely perfect, clear awakened being, whether in knowledge and good conduct, Sutara and noble worlds, to bring back the human beings to be taken. Teach your gods and human beings to yield a completely, fully awakened life, being down trusted in the destroyer, the glorious conqueror, to the secure of the Shakti. I frustrate the offerings of refuge. When those three amongst humans who are born on this earth, you make us not emphasize and say, I am supreme in this world. You will rise and prostrate. With pure bodies born supremely pure, with the motion like gold mountain. Playing the days in the three worlds, women of the blessed Lord, you are prostrate. With the supreme signs based on the spotless moon, how will I call to you and prostrate? Thus feel I knew the three worlds are not, incomparable wise one to you and prostrate. The Day8 have a great compassion, the founder having all understanding, the field of man, the qualities of the last ocean, to you that the dark prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, one on path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that justifies and prostrate. Those who are raised in the most mature path of liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha and prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, as this teaches you to live. A star, vision of creation, a flame of man, an illusion, a drop to reward all. A dream of that finding cloud, seek conditioning as such. With these items, which things we can run and foresee, subdue the four force and be delivered from samsara solution, return by the ways of Hades, sickness, and death.
29.
Page 29. 29. The Heart Sutra, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the eye of the Buddha, thus as I hear on my tongue, the Buddha was dwelling on the mass of fortunes mountain in Rajagiri, together with great means and monks and great means of both samples. I define the Buddhas and floating in concentration on categories of phenomena, who profound illumination. Also, at that time, the Buddhas have a master by higher Bodhichitta, who was one of their practices of profound illumination of wisdom, and beheld those of higher aggregates also as empty in inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the rich aggregates is to the Buddhas of a master by higher Bodhichitta. How should any time of illumination pursue practice and the activity of performance of perfection wisdom train? Is that the Buddhas have a master by higher Bodhichitta, that is to remember Sharaputra. Sharaputra makes out the nature of the age, which the practice and activity of performance of perfection wisdom should look upon like this, guarding and predicating those who have manifest something in human nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not living form, form is also not living emptiness. In the same way, dealing with discrimination, composition, practice, and consciousness are empty. Sharaputra likewise all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, aimless, not without state, not addition, not fulfilled. Sharaputra therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition, practice, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no eye, no soul, no object of feeling, no mind, and no mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, object including or aging death, and no extinction of aging death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and power. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Sharaputra, therefore, the Buddha was maintained, because ours to rely on the God of perfection wisdom. The mind without creation and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of Nirvana. All the Buddhas who learn at 3 times also manifestly completely once so possible, perfect and complete and accurate transcendental perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom will not be created as the unpassed mantra, the mantra equal to unequal, the mantra that only pacifies all suffering should be realized truths, since it is not false, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Dharamshala, all bhakti, bhakti, asking what they put is share that we love the true self will master the training of profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then we will arose in the concentration from command the Buddha self-work, having his faith. Well said, son of the initiated, like that. Which realize the profound perfection of wisdom and justice being communicated, either that the dark does yours. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Buddha Sharaputra, the Bodhisattva master, the Bodhisattva, those are only that I alone with the Lord of gods, humans and earth, Lord, joy and highly praised as full of Buddha. This completes the argument of the impression of different place.
Deata Om Gate Gate Varagate Varasangate Bodhisvaha Deata Om Gate Gate Varagate Varasangate Bodhisvaha 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 Om Gate Gate Varagate Varasangate Bodhisvaha.
Teaching of the three supreme jewels possessing the power of truth. May you unite now take them to be transformed. May they be sustained. May they be may all negative forces, those without not be completely pacified. May those waiting out and not skillful be pacified. May we be separated from problems and conditions somehow with the Dharma. May all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma. May auspicious and popular acts of the way. Page 35. The verse is the trained mind by Geshe. The determination to achieve the highest aim of what the force sentient beings is without the wish of nature. May I hold the day at all times. Whenever I try to someone, may I leave myself as the lowest of my soul, and from the very depths of my heart as especially hold others as superior. In all my deeds may I probe into my mind and soothe the mental and emotional afflictions that arise, as they endanger myself and others, and I strongly confide them in them. When I see beings on others in character, and those oppressed by strong things because of suffering, may I hold in the day of the ever confined, as if I discover the true treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with the belief that I am fallen, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer others victory. When someone whom I have helped or whom I have placed great hopes, mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may I realize that as my precious teacher. In grief, may I offer everything joy to all my mothers, Lord, directly into everything. May I take upon myself all the doubts and pains of my mothers. May all that is not enough for idle to take me create my faithful sons, and may I rise in all the ways and solutions, with the word of pain be released from bondage. Some practice and meditation. For my two collections, I ask His faith that I have, but by working without to let this practice with the great time, then I regard to achieving the goal of so then practice. The excerpt from the King Prayers, the extraordinary inspiration of the practice of Sevenfold. I bow down to the youthful Mahāyāna tradition. You look with the lights amongst humans, but creating the present, past, and future. In the world of actions, all you, the species sincere mind, I bow down. With the aim to aspiration for the wills of the body, with the deep respect and the examining steps into the world. Lord, you with us visualize the real and not down. On every article of Buddha's endless articles, eagerly the host of the disciples, and upon the clear walk now in the time of Buddha's in this way. With any evolutions waiting for you, and which is the signs from the aspect of my voice, I sing the breathtaking incidents of Buddhas, authors of music writers, beautiful flowers of beautiful gardens, sweet music sings the world of magical, sparkling rises of blinding sense I offer to you, fine dress and fragrant perfumes, sunwood holiday, each eye is not mirrored. All wonders of things in a spectacular way, I offer to you to response. The transcendental offering jealous and vast, with profound impression for all the Buddhas, with strength of conviction and words of her way, I offer now down the world to response. Every harmful action I have done, and what is speech in mind, overrun by attachment and ignorance, all these I have made that they therefore grieve. I lift up my heart and rejoice of all the merits of the Buddhas and their success and directions. Also, that the realities you have took away in those beyond, and of all living beings. You are the bright lights of the world's directions, who have attained Buddha's omniscience with the state of awakening. All of you remind us, each step of supreme will of Dharma. But once together, I earnestly request you may actualize Dharma. Please dear with us, bring us numberless items of the world, to our happiness and well-being for all one existence love. Whatever is unheaded and accumulated, I make the prostration of offering the blessing, rejoicing in the blessing that the Buddha say and teach. I now dedicate all his lips full of beauty and peace. Short Mandala. Page 14. This ground, anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers that do only pathway, the four continents, the sun. I imagine this is the foot of the world and not threat. May all sentient beings be rejoiced with the Lord.
O Sajjana
Abundance of Venerable Temple. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the power to speak of thoughts. May I be blessed that the words to speak in light of exalted wisdom. The four Dharmas of the Venerable should be not suffer. It only has to be restricted to the ones of God for true existence. It is only the general renunciation. See all aspects of the lives of vicious and repulsive. It is as if my mind is capable of those with gracious Bodhichitta and cherishes others more than himself. It is as if my practical experiences of wisdom practices that does not see the anatomy of the intrinsic reality based on the understanding how things come to be by the understanding would be a recognition. It is as if my mind's flows of place that simply belong to the natural safety and emptiness. It is Page 42. The foundation of all qualities belongs to God. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure good. Throughout devotion to Him is the root of the heart. By clearly seeing this and high way that pleases us me to rely on Him with greatest respect. Understanding that the present freedom of this truth that is found on the ones is greater than the even as in the general mind that is something that the mind takes excellence. This life is in harmonious with water bubble. Remember how quickly the days that it comes. After that, just like a shadow follows the body, the result virtues and non-virtues are the world. Finally, the condition of this. It is as we always be careful to grant the meaning slights needed to be and accomplish all virtuous deeds. And the place that is unsatisfying and unreliable, seeking that ends the door of all suffering, recognizing the shortcomings. It is by nature I start wish to liberation. Led by the spirit of God, the mindfulness of awareness and great portion arise. The real teachings of the Dharamshala House. The exacting encompasses spiritual practice. The self-hold and states of the self. So our own mind. Training supreme Bodhichitta, guided the responsibility of again with great peace. We have had another Bodhichitta that practice three types of morality, and knowledge of the enlightenment. We might get recognition of this, because as we practice the Bodhisattva path with great energy. Once they have classified destruction into one object, and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, this allows me to generate quickly within my stream, the unified path that combines protective insight. Having become a pure blessed by training the eternal path, this allows me to enter the worldly gateway of the fortunate ones, supreme pleasure vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the good attainments is to give me pure wisdom and Maya. And as I become firmly convinced of this allows me to take these vows from the living of my life. Then having realized the importance of two natures, by essence of Mahāyāna, by practicing with great energy, and never giving up the four sessions, this allows me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like having the Gurus who show the noble path, and especially friends who practice the noble long lives, this allows me to pass away completely, or after the hindrances. In all my life, never served before God of the Gurus, I enjoy the magnificent power. I completely the station of the paths, my ability to taste the flavor of Lama. Some of us, in English. You have with this God, great truth from our potential compassion, and unusually master of the world's wisdom, as well as larger bindings to close the tendencies of that deception. So now our ground rules the daily lives most on our right to be the
Meaning of the verse once more. You are the Bodhichitta, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and unusually master of flawless wisdom, as well as Rajapani to so oppose the demons without exception, Sankara, crown jewel of the stages of the level snows, or sometimes here to feel and make frustrations. Okay. Oh, Mother, thank you so much. Thank you. Next, generating the consummate, the mind of the consummate yoga. The 4 points, the main practice, 5 minutes of the shamatha position. Okay, baby. Okay, next. Next Bodhichitta, the refuge, the renunciation. This is going to be guided meditation, and just try to let your mind flow according to the instructions given. And while we are doing this, we don't try to correlate, we don't compare, contrast with what we've learned before, what we've heard, what we've read. If you'd like to do these things, you can. Not now, later, after the session, then you can do these things. They are very helpful, but we should know when to do and what to do. So here you are trying to endure the experiences. To endure the experiences is not that easy. It requires the consistent practice for a long period of time, but when they're together, they can be more of the force. Renunciation. Renunciation is to renounce the miseries. To renounce the miseries, when we now renounce the causes of the miseries. And causes of miseries, the Buddha, in the essence of the dependent position mantra, indicated, Ye dharma hetu pradama, hetum desham tathagoto hevatat. And what causes are is taught that all phenomena arise from causes, and causes are taught by the Buddha. So what are the causes Buddha taught? Which are in the Nagarjuna indicated in his text. A season of karmic afflictions is nirvana. Karmic afflictions arise from conceptualization of inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and the elaboration ceases into all body wisdom practice. We can know that all miseries they arise from the contempt karmas, which in turn arises from the cross afflictions, which in turn arise from the conceptualization of the inappropriate attention, and finally they arise from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, the ignorance which views things as objectively real, failing to see dream as dream, failing to see what is subjective as subjective, instead see them as object real. This is the ultimate culprit of the culprit which dresses down into miseries. And to counteract this, we need to take steps. As for the steps to the taught, the 4 levels of ignorance, and to be removed by 4 levels of wisdom. So what are they? The 4 seals, and the first 3 seals, they explain the 4 wisdoms, and the last seal explains the resultant state, the benefit of practicing these 4 seals. First, all composite things impermanent. Composite things things which are constituted of directional parts and temporal parts, parts in space and parts in time. Parts in space, primarily the physical bodies, and parts in time, which incorporates all the impermanent phenomena, and the mind, which does not have the material parts or directional parts, but have only the temporal parts, whereas all other impermanent phenomena have temporal as well as the physical directional parts. So what is these parts should necessarily be the nature of impermanence. And the impermanences of 2 kinds, the gross and subtle, the gross continuation of which stops. And for example, 2024 stops, continuation of 2024 stops, and a youth, the continuation of youth stops, and a beautiful day is with your dad, mom, brother, sister, also stop. And finally, a day will come that we cease to exist in this world. One time when I was in my 20s, perhaps I was 21, there was a scholar, truly a scholar. And once he told me that a day will come when our eyes will shut down and all appearances will dissolve. Yes, it happened to all of us. Impermanence of death. If we don't still could not understand it, all the castles, old castles, or the ruins of the fortresses, these are the proof of impermanence of death. Once upon a time, all the big pyramids, these are the proofs, evidence, once upon a time. Who were living there? Who inhabited these places, the castles, the fortresses, and so forth, the kings and queens who were women who lived, no place to go in there. And it seems so sacred, so important. Now gone. This is just like the rebels. Likewise, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, there were people. Some of them are younger than you, some of them your age, some older than you. Where are they now? They're all gone. Not in the same business. This is what the Buddha indicated as all kinds of things in power. And every time we relish, we partake in beautiful moments like watching the waves on the ocean, watching sunset and so forth. Take yourself, give yourself this little time. This too is impermanent. Enjoy this. It disappears. Give yourself the assurance, the reassurance. Yes, what I thought before, what the Buddha taught is correct. Now that is this beautiful thing is gone. This is what the Buddha indicated as whatever gathers, disperses, whatever is accumulated is exhausted, and youth is followed by old age. Sickness and good health is followed by sickness, and birth is followed by death. And Buddha was once asked, is it true that whoever is born dies? The Buddha said, yes. And the second question, is it true that all what dies will be born? The Buddha said, no. Those with attachment will be again involuntarily to birth in samsara, and those who are freed from attachment, they are freed from the involuntary birth. And change that you see, the obvious change, the gross change that you see is possible only if the change is happening on the voluntary level or the subtle impermanence level. What's that like? The change that you see, your whole body, which is perhaps like 40 kg, 50 kg, 60, 70, whatever weight, this is only possible. It's a gradual process. When you're born, you're just like 3 kg or 4 kg. From there, you grow with the size. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, and the hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond. This is how things are changing. All the composite things are changing. And what is that line change? The pace at which the millisecond change is happening. Extreme, soft. Just imagine you are in a very fast moving express train. What is a soft like? It's so fast. This is exactly how your body is moving. How the people around you, they're moving, they're changing. On the place in which you are staying is changing. On the road that you travel on changes, and how the whole world, the whole universe, they're changing. Momentarily. Look at, if you don't believe, press the timer of your mobile. Press the stopwatch of your mobile and see how the digits move so fast. Seeing is believing. This will be, the more you think about it, more real it, you'll see the reality more closely. And then you say it's very scary. Yes, it's so scary. Why? Because we don't know where this train is taking us. The faster the train moves, more the fear. Faster you see that your body, yourself, your near dear ones, the house in which you live, they are moving. It's very scary. Where are they moving? They are moving towards the point of perishing, towards the death. And who decides what next going to be like? It's going to be decided by the course. In the case of the train driver decides. If the train driver is alone, yes, good news, he will take you to a picnic spot. But if it is the terrorists, won't take us to the slaughterhouse. Very scary. In that case, the driver is a mind. And mind per se is neutral, but one is under the dictate of the worst of the terrorists, worst of the contaminations, which is self-grasping ignorance, supported by the self-centered attitude. Where this is the case, there's no chance. But one interiors to miseries. This is what the Buddha indicated as all contaminated things of self-nature. The worst of contamination, which is self-grasping ignorance, supported by self-centered attitude, given rise to the inappropriate tension and the gross afflictions such as attachment, anger, and jealousy, and so forth, and which in turn give rise to good time and karma, so 10 virtues. Then give rise to all the chain, the whole cycle of miseries, endless cycle of misery. Misery is like what? 3 kinds of suffering. Suffering, the manifest suffering change, the bait, which steals the time, which traps us, which continues to trap us for us to go through further suffering. And finally, the pervasive conditioned suffering, the mastermind behind these 2 sufferings. Yes, now we realize it's so which involved birth in samsara. Being under the sway of the contaminant comes the afflictions. And finally, the dream creator, the sleep of self-grasping ignorance. Where you are in the sleep, you are loss of freedom. Then the dream is created by the sleep, by the imprints, early imprints. You have no choice what dream to create. You have no choice what the tomorrow is going to be like. It's all but nothing but created by your own mind, dictated by the sleep of self-grasping ignorance. Wow, it's amazing. This is how I'm being tortured. Yes, you're total loss of freedom. This is a dream. I don't have any choice to decide dream. This is exactly like a dream which your mind is creating, subjectively real, and yet who creates this is bound purely under the influence of self-grasping ignorance, the sleep of self-grasping ignorance. So finally, this is the one which is most vicious, self-grasping ignorance, which steals my freedom. Loss of freedom, misery, samsara. Okay, and these for the people of, let's make sure suffering is the one which bothers us. Yes, it is endless happening. For a little more mature, like those who are born in the form's realm, they are bothered by the suffering is nothing. They feel so great aversion to the suffering change, the mundane happiness which steals the time which serves as a bait for us. They're so averse to these. And finally, the most mature beings, they are averse not just to these 2 things, but mostly aversion to the pervasive conditioned suffering, which is like the mastermind. And those people who have that capacity to see who the mastermind is, there are other things like suffering, pervasive, the suffering shape, they're nothing. As long as the mastermind is not removed, all these things, no matter what you do to get wealth, to get health, and so forth, well, continues to results, continues to meet with the threat of losing them, fights, conflicts, so forth, and the good health and so forth, suffering change in that form, they continue to become older, order, no matter how much good food they eat, gym and so forth, your body continues with order. This is the reality of suffering change. No matter how much we try to put ourselves so nice looking, presentable, we continue with order. Nothing else to that. This is illusion that we live in. And this is all created by the pervasive conditioned suffering. So the wise people will see that. And in whatever case, in whatever level of capacity that you are in at the moment, so whichever of the three kinds of suffering is most the imminent and most vicious to us now, think of that. One moment such suffering is good enough to nullify all the past moments of dramatic events, festivities, birthday parties, and so forth. Is this true? And such one moment tragedy just makes us feel the whole world collapse and shatter, so gloomy and hopeless, so agonizingly painful. Yes. When will these miseries stop? 2024 stop on its own. When will the time that these miseries will stop? Impermanence, as you know, there are three classes of phenomena. The class of impermanence, one who's continuing invariably stops in 2024, and one who's continuing never stops, like your mind, the mind, the particles, the time, and so forth. There's third category of impermanence, whose continuing never stops unless until we put a concerted, conscious effort. Okay, what kind of effort is required? Depends on the nature of the mental developments. And mental developments, we see that they all somehow connected, associated with self-grasping ignorance. So given that this is the problem, the counter force must be the wisdom of emptiness. What is the wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension object ties with reality. And what's reality? Here is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything's nature, emptiness, selflessness. Okay, today we'll meditate on emptiness of yourself. Sometimes we feel so stressed, anxiety, and laden with gravity of the uneasiness on such situation. Just think of this emptiness of the self and see how the mind behaves. The mind feels instant uplifted. Just see with that. Okay, let's meditate on emptiness of the self, the person. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. And what is your body doing? My body is in a meditative state. And tell me, how does this person appear to you who identifies who you identify as I? Appear to like a dream that your mind is dreaming, making it? Or no, it is not my dream. It's not driven by my mind. It's so objectively there, objectified, solidified there. Yes, of course, in the same way. So objectified. Okay, this is in lieu of the first essentials, the first one, essential identified object negation. And this belief that this I exists objectively real, this is grasping ignorance, the worst of the demons, worst of contamination. Okay, how do we know that this is ignorance? This is not that mind. To evaluate this, remember what I already got from the Trot in his text, Precious Garland. If the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. Well, all of us say this together 3 times. If the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. If the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. If the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. Okay. So with a similar type of reasoning, if this self were to exist objectively, why don't I see this self as I go closer to this object? Okay. Now let us go closer to this object. Going closer to the object, this is technically what is known as subjecting this person to ultimate analysis. Subjecting this person who identifies I to the ultimate analysis. Just ignore all the things which are not objectively the self. At first we see a thin layer of skin, behind that the fatty tissues, behind that the muscles, the cartilages. the heart, the lungs, the liver, the whole skeleton. These all parts constitute element earth. And element earth, of course, is not about identifies intrinsically as one with the self. Element of water, 4 liters of blood which you pump in and out to your liver, by the heart. And of course, there is not this to identify as the intrinsic as the self. Element of fire, 2,600 joules of your body energy in simple terms, the body heat. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that we breathe out through lungs. Element of space, 99.9% of your body space. But I'm a solid person. The space of human nature is very different. Even there is also not about infinite intrinsically one with the self, element of consciousness or the mind. I'm a male, I'm a non-male, I'm a female, I'm a not-female. But the mind does not have gender. Gender is possible purely based on the body. So this mind is also not the self. And also people can see me from distance, but they don't see the mind. So this mind is not the self. Yes. Okay, now you're saying, what are you saying? And also ultimate analysis, if at all this, what you see, if there's something that you see, it's just these elements. Tell me. Given that if this something exists objectively, it pervades to these two possibilities, either objectively one with the parts, or objectively different from the parts, and which the two holds true. Objectively one with the parts, none of these elements is to be identified as subject as these. If not, then look for the second possibility. Remove the 6 elements what's left there is different from the 6 elements. Nothing is left there. Now, both the possibilities for separate exist objectively are ruled out. Yes, now what you see, from the object, what you see, from the object, there's nothing to be identified as self. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, this experience is amazing. But what's the benefit of this meditation? Just as the self is subject to the self-analysis, we come to discover that it's empty. It's not going to be there, objectively real as the self. And we see that the misery, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, so forth, we see them as objectively real and they thus torment us. And with subjecting these to the same analysis, we come to discover that they're also likewise empty object reality. And instant, the moment when they dissolve the experience of emptiness, absolute peace, very profound peace, dawns from the core of your being. Okay, stay in this experience for a while. This is what Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Slowly generate a very strong aspiration. May I forever experience this emptiness. May I forever abide in this experience of emptiness, where all my sorrows, anxiety, anguish, worries, they all dissolve. Thereby experience the very profound, absolute peace. Okay, this aspiration that we generate now is the true meaning of the renunciation. Again, let's take a few seconds to move to the Bodhichitta practice. Are you ready? For the Bodhichitta practice, we do the four immeasurables to conclude with the Bodhichitta commitment. And for this, again, same thing, that some of us may feel that this is very superficial practice, where the practice that we're doing does not really resonate with the real thinking. Yes, you're right. Yes, we have to acknowledge that. But keep in mind that this is the meaning of the practice, where your mind is totally in a different plane of reality, and then to repeat, to mimic, to repeat, to continue to do the same thing over again, which may be totally against how your mind is seen, how your mindset is seen, is known as practice, like practice music, where initially, despite you mimicking your teachers with respect to which keys to press, only noise comes out, no music. Do it over and over again, eventually it comes to become very beautiful music. This is the meaning of practice. But as mind, for vegetables, really, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and causes of happiness? May all my dear sentient beings be endowed with happiness and causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that we're making such a courageous commitment, like the mother of all these many years of raising our children. Today, the eldest daughter is just age 12 and the eldest son just age 11. Come to the mother, tell the mother, Mom, you have done everything for us. We know how much you love us. Will you please take rest? We are not grown up. We'll take care of all the siblings. And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. So much of sense of joy, happiness, pride come to the mother. This is exactly what happens to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. This happiness, pride, the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel the compassionate, invoke their compassionate minds to a central nectars with sweetness towards you and all such beings. The mere touchless nectars with the Buddhist Bodhichitta instills in all happiness and of course happiness in the mind sentience of yourself. And you're witnessing such a miracle is happening to all the sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, silently relieve. Imagine compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. Causes of suffering primarily consist of self-grasping, ignorance, and self-satisfaction. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment to the intense happy and proud of you, despite happiness, invoke their compassion minds to send for nectars for sweetness lights towards you and ultimates. What sentient beings? The mere touchless nectars with the body speaks yours. Washes of all the miseries and causes of miseries of all the mind of sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all the sentient beings, you're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths out of relief. Next image will join. How good would it be that all my dim essential beings are never separated from happiness and the causeless happiness that they endowed with. May all my dim essential beings never be separated from happiness and the causeless happiness that they endowed with. I will take the responsibility that all my dim essential beings are never separated from happiness and the causeless happiness that they endowed with. And the Buddha's Bodhisattvas witnessing their making such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud view, this pardon happiness invoked their compassionate minds, the central nectars for soothing us to assume ultimate human beings. The mere touch of lasting nectars with the body speaks to yours, stabilizes the happiness and causes the happiness of being sent down. And you're witnessing such a miracle is happening to all of them as human beings. You're intense happy. Take 3 deep breaths and next emotional equanimity. How good would it be that all my dim ascension beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to sin and aversion to others, and instead abounding the great state of equanimity, embracing all of the dim ascension beings with equal love and affection, leaving that aside. May all my dim ascension beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to sin and aversion to others. I'll take the responsibility that all my dim ascension beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to sin and aversion to others. The Buddha's Bodhisattvas witnessing that we make such a courageous commitment, the intense happiness and proud view, this pride and happiness lived way the mother in which the mother of those many years of raising children with great hardship. Today the eldest daughter, eldest son, just aged 12 and 11, come to mother, telling mother, Mother, please take rest. You've done everything for us. We know how much you love us. Now we're grown up. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of all the siblings. And the mother could not believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly what's happened to all Buddha's Bodhisattvas. And the happiness and the pride the Buddha's Bodhisattvas today invoke the compassionate minds who sent for nectars of sweetness towards you in all demonstrated ways. The mere touch of us nectars of the body speaks yours. Frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion to others, and instead making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other demonstrating beings with total love and affection, leaving them aside. And you witness such a miracle is happening to all the demonstrating beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, silent relief. Underscoring all the four measurables is unconditional love, abundance experience with unconditional love, in amazing unconditional love. This is the foundation for generating Bodhichitta, which in turn is the main stem to give rise to the incredible beautiful fruits of the Buddhahood, the Sevenfold beings. With folded hands, let us make a Buddhist together 3 times together. 3 times. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Buddha sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Buddha sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear Buddha sentient beings. Abide in this most beautiful mind Bodhicitta for a while. Now slowly transform this beautiful mind Bodhicitta into a spotlessly clean spotlessly clean moon disk, horizontally sitting with heart. Okay, that's amazing that you made such courageous commitment to become Buddha for the tenfold dimensional beings. But don't forget that no matter how much you squeeze handful of sand, no water comes out. Yes, I know that. I'm not like a handful of sand. I'm like some fast seed, these some fast seeds, which all just come out of the Buddha nature within me. Okay, if this were the case, why not that since time immemorial till today, this Buddha nature is awakened? Yes, it's not because that I'm deceived by two demons, self-grasping and self-centered attitude, but coming in the facade with the best of my friends. And today I'm disillusioned by that, and I'm going to exterminate them. How will I do exterminate them? So that we Buddha nature will be awakened. Yes, I'm going to resort to a very powerful remedy. What is that? The non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas. What is that like? Okay, let's quickly retrieve the experience and trainers which you meditated as the third of the four things. Okay, think of what you're doing by meditating, just subjecting, and this self-seen is subject real, not like a dream. This belief is self-grasping ignorance. And how do we know that this is ignorance, not about mind? Remember what I've been taught. If the mirage were with itself, why not this? If the mirage were to water, why not? Why not those two spikes mirage see water? With a simple tool of reasoning, if the self exists objectively, why don't we see the self as we go close to the object? Okay, now that is subjective self-ultimate analysis, with which we see just 6 elements of the earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Okay, now, if the self does exist objectively, there are only two possibilities which pervade the essential pervasion, which pervade the two possibilities that the 6 elements should be intrinsically the self, or different from 6 elements should be intrinsically the self. And which the two possibility is true? 6 elements to the intrinsic self? No way. Now, if not, no 6 elements to see if the self exists intrinsically different from 6 elements. No 6 elements, what happens? Nothing's left there. With this, now tell me, from the object, where is the self as object real? None, nothing. To my amazement, it simply dissolves. The objective self is nowhere there. Since experience for a while, this most fearless mind, this is ultimate safe haven for us to run away, to escape for good from the samsara. Slowly transform this fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a spotlessly clean, thumb-size white Vajra, vertical sitting in modesty of the heart. Okay, now you have the moon, the blaze of the non-dual Bodhichitta. It's the moon, symbolic of the conventional Bodhichitta, to exterminate self-centered attitude, one of the demons, and the verse is symbolic of the ultimate Bodhichitta, the non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas, to exterminate all the mental deformities, both afflicting all kind of obscurations, thereby making you experience a fearless and true infinite happiness. Wow, this is amazing, so precious. Meanwhile, let us not forget your two parents, your children, all of them members and all innocent beings who have suffered terribly badly because of these two demons. Yes, generate very strong compassion to them. So this compassion invokes your Russian moon in the heart to multiply infinite number of times. She once said the Russian moon in the heart of a mother, once said with the heart of father, once said with each one of her members, including children, and each of the beings that who you know who passed away from your line, who left the world, and each of the beings who are at the moment sick and who are suffering, in hospitals. And each of the beings who are alive, everyone here in India, in your own country, or in the oceans, the trillions of beings, they get their own share of judgment from you, and all the trillions of beings in the wilderness, and in the entire Milky Galaxy, and the entire universe, everyone, all the sentient beings got a share of your devotion from you. Amazing. So precious. Meanwhile, let us not forget that all Buddhist Bodhisattvas are watching us. Whenever we request the Buddhist Bodhisattvas to be witness, and our guests to take the aspect of Bodhisattva. And for that, let's slowly stand and make 3 prostrations, along with all the other sentient beings, to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Okay, page 50. So let's screenshot Shiva. Okay, page 50. Is that what happened? Spider is tiny. Okay. Okay, let me quickly explain the meanings. So here, on this ceremony, this is so precious, particularly after getting some idea of what Bodhicitta is and your life where there's so much problems coming, self-creation, others' creation, environmental creation, situational. There's so many of these. And then when you see with the person Bodhicitta, the wisdom actions, you feel that the calmness is coming up about. This is reality. So with this you feel the preciousness of this practice. So with this, then you feel like doing this, and when you do that, again, is about how effective that is all determined by the emphasis on the quality. So the quality is determined by whether or not you really contemplate on meanings. And if you begin by contemplating meanings, okay, let's just wait a few seconds for Nia to come to join us. Okay, it's fine. So with this, as we the initial we began with contemplative meanings is quite the energy draining, and after a while, when you get a little bit used to that, even without conscious effort, meanings are constantly, automatically meanings will come to you as you recite this. So this benefit, and then when you fall asleep, and these words will reverberate in your mind, and meanings are constantly coming to your mind. So with this mind, This journey is a very important journey for all of us, for you, for me, anybody who wants to get away from miseries, and anybody who wants to expand their happiness to infinity. This will truly contribute to whatever they aspire. So this journey is a very important journey to awaken our Buddha nature within us. For this we require incredibly great support, and the greatest of support that we can think of are the triple journey. So the first line says, "I go for refuge in the triple journey." And seeking the support, his journey involves a road, and the road must not be blocked by the boulders and the fallen trees and so forth. And the road is none other than only mind. This mind must not be blocked by the negativities, negative karmas, very strong negative karmas, strong afflictions, and so forth. And how to remove these negativities is by confessing the negativities. Second line says, "I confess the negativities individually." Now the road is clear, but if the car does not have the fuel, again you cannot take the journey. And this car is none other than only mind. And this mind should be enough fuel of the rituals. And the best way by which to effectively do this with a short span of time is by rejoicing in the virtues of others. That one says, "I rejoice in the virtues of all beings." Okay, now you have great support of the triple journey, and the road is clear, and the car is enough fuel. What kind of journey are you going to undertake? The following says, "I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Awaken in the hidden treasure made with me." This is technically in Sanskrit known as the awakened mind of Buddhahood. So with this mind, let us recite the verse 3 times together. "I go for refuge to triple journey. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple journey. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple journey. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart." The next two verses, invoking Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to pay heed to us. And okay, the first verse. In the history of humanity, if we check, if there's somebody who succeeded in this journey, yes, we see that there's once upon a time there was a prince by the name of Siddhartha, and he succeeded in this. How did he succeed? He succeeded by creating two factors. The first factor is the motivation of Bodhichitta. He generated a strong aspiration to awaken this hidden treasure within to become Buddha. And then the next factor, to materialize this aspiration, we engage in Bodhisattva practices like 6 perfections, 4 perfections, 6 perfections, generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, meditative concentration, wisdom, and then skillfulness, aspiration prayers, power, and the primordial wisdom. So these are the 10 perfections which he engaged in with respect to the practice, and finally he attained what he aspires, what we all aspire, that is the fearlessness, the infinite happiness, by awakening hidden treasure within. If this is how we succeeded, the next verse, I will also follow his footsteps. First, generate a strong Bodhichitta commitment, and then to materialize this aspiration, I will also engage in the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, let's recite 3 times together wholeheartedly. Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhichitta, just as successfully run the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhichitta, and I will shall to successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhichitta, just as successfully run the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhichitta, and I will shall to successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please be heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of Bodhichitta, just as successfully run the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of Bodhichitta, and I will shall to successfully train the Bodhisattva practices. Feel the joy of the heavenly civilization of Bodhisattva found, and we are all very fortunate that we have done this practice almost every day, every morning. And just imagine that your your mom after all these many years of raising children, raising you, and yet at the same time always getting complaints from school principal about your the behavior, bad behaviors. And then the school principal today also comes. The mother is again very apprehensive, very unhappy. School principal says, no, we came here to congratulate you. What for? That your son and your daughter took them appointed as the best students of the school for this year. The mother could not believe her eyes and ears after all these many years of bringing complaints. Today, what she is here is so unbelievably pleasant. This is exactly what happens to all those bodhisattvas. So all these innumerable lifetimes, they only wish that we're freed from suffering by shunning the misery, the cause of miseries. On the contrary, we've been always chasing up the cause of miseries, driven by the self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude, and always being experiencing dreadful pains, everlasting pains. And today what you did is very different to reverse these miseries. We're so happy. And since time immemorial till today, they only expect that we have abundance of happiness by embracing the cause of the happiness. On the contrary, we destroy the cause of happiness as well as we destroy our own misery, the own enemies, thereby always the remaining deprived of the happiness. But today what it is something so special, which truly makes all bodhisattvas so happy. This happiness, pride, invokes the Western moon and house of bodhisattvas to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, these replicas of the Western moon from the bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that which lies in the heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all these innumerable replicas of Western moon from the bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that we visualize with the heart of your mother, and the heart of the father, and the heart of each of your feminine messenger children, and each of the beings here in India, human beings, animals, insects, carnivores, carnivores, spirits, each of the beings, the whole world, and that entire the Milky Way galaxy, and the entire universe, and all the creatures in the oceans, in the wilderness, everyone who worship the moon that you have so generously, so kindly shared with them, they become non-dual with this infinite, the descent of the infinite Western from the bodhisattvas. They become non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. This is amazing. This is the greatest of the greatest gesture of repaying the kindness of all your dear sentient beings, and today you did it. And this is the greatest offering. The Buddha made it clear. One moment of generated compassion far excels the gift of the filling the whole universe with gems, offering them to all the bodhisattvas. If this were the case for a mention of our heavenly masters and bodhisattvas today, and today you did it, you have made the greatest offerings to all those bodhisattvas. And with your life, there's nothing greater, more important than this, nothing greater meaningful than this. And today you extract such a meaning out of your life. And all these three wonders, they happen because of the blessings of those bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, let us again slowly stand up along with all the innocent beings to make two prostrations of all those bodhisattvas. Okay, let us turn to page 51. So this practice of Bodhichitta is not that easy. And out of just imagine, let alone all the sentient beings. Even the human beings on planet Earth, this tiny planet, 8 billion human beings. Out of these, how many of them heard about Bodhichitta? How many of them heard about wisdom and treatments? It's so less. And among them, how many actually practice these? Even more less. Extremely less. So why? Majority, 90% of the beings, they do not even come in contact with this teaching, number one. And those who do come in contact, only handful of the beings who come in contact, how many of them are seriously practicing this? And what's the benefit of this practice? Is to awaken your hidden treasure. Everybody seeks fearlessness and everybody seeks the infinite happiness. But on the contrary, they don't know how to do that. And those people who do come in contact with this teaching to awaken this treasure, the hidden treasure inside, and how many of them are serious, so less in number. So we are very fortunate now to continue with this in the future lives as well. In the future lifetimes, we have to, first of all, we have to meet with this Dharma of the Bodhichitta interest, number one. Number two, once you've met, we should be able to take very seriously so that the journey is not going to be too long. The journey of awakening the hidden treasure of the fearless and infinite happiness should be very strict. For that matter, how to do that? One, including the informal thought, very powerful prayer, the verse which we are reading here, and alongside this life, we take the maximum advantage of this and make sure that we don't waste our life. Just imagine that we just hang around the different places with friends and so forth for about, let's say, 8 days, and then instead come here, talk about what is wisdom, how to deal with how to manage emotions, so forth. Which is more meaningful, of course. Any sensible people will say that this is way more meaningful, and there's other ones totally waste of time. This is the job of the suffering change. So with this mind, we include this in form very powerful prayer, the first one, and the next one, to make sure that once we're connected, then we to take very seriously this practice. For that, we associate this practice with the joy. So in the future, the moment this practice is, you hear this practice, it's when joy comes. When joy comes, you have to very strictly, it becomes so effective and journey becomes very swift. Okay, with this mind, imagine that all beings are with you. Our Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, and it's like your two parents who feel so proud to see that this little boy and little girl, for the first time making public appearance on behalf of your school, and the parents feel so proud. This is exactly what all those Bodhisattvas they are feeling today. You just try to imagine that, and then you, as the responsible little boy, you bring along with you all your siblings. This is exactly what we're doing with all sentient beings. With this mind, let's say these two terms together wholeheartedly. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to hold the two precious Bodhicittas even across my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious Bodhicittas even across my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassion Buddha and be able to uphold the two precious Bodhicittas even across my life. In order to further increase this Bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucid disease and awaken the mind of Bodhicitta in this way should humbly praise in the following manner. Today my life is born through, I have well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of Buddhas, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble non-selfish race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakened mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia thereof comes subject to death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that we live in this whole forbidden world. It is the supreme medicine that cures the world's disease. It is a tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired of a party conditioned existence. It is a universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. is the roaring moon of the mind that expels atomic disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the mystic ignorance of the world. It is the Christian's butter from the journey to the Dharma. For all those guys dwelling on the path of conditioned existence, who wish to experience the abundance of the happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors and for all the world to be guests, at a festival of temporary ultimate delight, may God's demigods all be joyful. I dedicate the matters thus gathered towards the realization of plenties in the prayers of Buddhists and Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight, and all lives free for this merit, never separated from focus on the Mahāyāna vehicle, and accomplish all the stations of the path, renunciation, Bodhichitta, fulfilling the 2 stages. From our 2 collections, faster space that were massed, we're working with after this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief agent Buddha for all those whose minds personalized splendidly ignorance. Okay, Buddha Shakyamuni praise. Serge Nubo Tabo Jebe Ko Shage Gabo Yona Chase Oh Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Age Tuje Shage So to shege ge mojo ba sege mo pa mo je me ko shage ya Yona Chase Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Age Tuje Shage So to shege Ge mojo ba Serge mo babu jebe ko shage yabo Yona chase lo Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Om Mone Mone Mahāyāna Swaha Mahamudaya Swaha.